All of my wife and I's 5-star rated books are available to order right now on our website at I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink.com or Amazon Prime or anywhere else books are sold. When you get your copies in the mail, take a picture of it and tag me in it at I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink on Instagram or TikTok, because I'll be looking forward to reposting the best pictures. Wado, thank you all for your continued support. We appreciate you. Two. All right, here we go. What's going on? Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. I'm not about to rap. This shouldn't be playing right now. Hold up. But this thing go though. Hey. We can just get hype real quick. Hey. Woo. Hey. Woo. Hey. Okay. Hey. All right, look. This is not supposed to be playing. Give me a second. We live, baby. Damn. Hold up. I might. Hold up. Hey. Nah. We just, we just getting started. Yeah, this the victory lap right here. All right. Look. Hold up. All right, where's my... All right, there it is. OCO, everyone. How y'all doing? Let it ride. Y'all just got a sneak peek. I'm gonna just keep it like that. Y'all just got a sneak peek. OCO, Osikachu, how are you? I see DJ Divine Rising in the building. How you doing, sister? Blue Dream in the building. What's going on, sis? Tamiri in the building. Marv Deuce in the building. Tiffany in the building. Mike B in the building. What's up, y'all? Let me make sure we we definitely show the chat real quick. There's a couple things I'm gonna be getting into. Yeah, I know I've been out for a little minute handling my thing. There will be a live stream on a podcast tomorrow about that. Because I did the live stream live during the earlier today in the 13% community service. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the podcast. I listened to it, it was pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the podcast channel. Stockton, Cali in the building. Georgetown, South Carolina in the building. And Blue Dreamer gifted 5 memberships. I appreciate that, sis. I appreciate that. Chosen for greatness. I appreciate you for becoming a member, sister. Diamond, welcome. I thank you for becoming a member. And Kalahari, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, brother. I hope I am. Get on me in the chat if I'm not. It's up. That's right. Where my it's up at? There you go.
It's up.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the dono. Hope you all are doing well. I know some of y'all are probably still gonna do your thing tomorrow as far as the 4th of July is concerned. I'm not trying to take any of that stuff away from y'all. If if that's family time and y'all coming together, so be it. Just as long as y'all celebrating y'all and not necessarily what it's, portrayed out to be. As far as them allegedly getting their independence. I already went over that. In fact, I might even go live tomorrow about that, and I know I am, so be on the lookout for that. Minneapolis, Minnesota in the house. Oh yeah, it's up. It's a few things that I'm going to get into. I just wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to come up in here. I cut the little intro part shorter than usual. Y'all know it was a lot of people contacting me saying that something I needed to check out. And I'm getting ready to play that for y'all. And I was like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But I wanted to share this with you all. I'm probably going to be going back to back since I've been out for a minute. I'll probably go live tomorrow, live the next day after that, probably the next day after that. So it's a lot of stuff that we got to talk about. A lot of people in the 13% community server were asking me to talk about the multiple situations or current events that's going on, and I will do that, and of course correlated with the information that I already presented to you all or about to present to you all. Just like this person. Well, I might as well just say it. Yeah, this person here. OCO King Third, how are you? King Third in the building. Miss Juicy in the building. Lionel in the building. The Poet Lounge in the building. Crystal P, thank you for becoming a member. And Miss Pretty Lady, thank you for becoming a member. Cleveland and Virginia in the house. What's up, y'all? So this is what we gonna do. I'm gonna get into it real quick to give y'all a fresh reminder of this particular individual, right? That I'm getting ready to talk about. In a good way. Don't think I'm about to come up in here and start bashing people. That's not the type that, that's not what I'm doing here. This is strictly about education. Okay. Misha, thank you. I appreciate that, sis. I'm gonna drop a bomb for y'all. Thank you all for showing the support and love. I appreciate that. Hold up. Let me pull this over here real quick. Because I want to show y'all something. So, to refresh your memory, you may be familiar with this particular individual based off of...
Can I just...
1 second. Based off of this here. NBA legend Isaiah Lord Thomas. I'm gonna
Can I just...
I'm gonna play this particular video that you may have seen, and then I'm gonna play one that people were asking me to talk about that just recently occurred. So here we go. I'm gonna play this one. You should be familiar with this one here. If not, I'm gonna give you a fresh reminder.
Can I just end with this one thing? These four brothers sitting here, we didn't all come from Africa.
First of all, I'm gonna drop a bomb right there. And then he said,
and there was a there was a country before 1492, and our history goes way beyond 1492. So you can't start us at 1492. We were always here.
Woo! Isaiah Lord Thomas, NBA legend. You hear me, okay? We were always here. That's what he said, right? Huh? Y'all heard that, right? One more time?
Can I just end with this one thing? These four brothers sitting here, we didn't all come from Africa. And there was a there was a country before 1492, and our history goes way beyond 1492. So you can't start us at 1492. We were always here.
It's up.
All right. So now what I want to give you is something that just recently popped up. I believe this happened yesterday or day before. Damn, now I can't remember. Hold on, wait. When did this happen? But people were sending it to me in Instagram, and I was like, All right, let me hurry up because people were like, yo, check this out. He talking about what you talked about. I said, okay, let me check it out. So he was on a podcast or radio show by Dane Calloway. People were saying that me and Sway sound just alike. But Sway is from, I believe, Oakland, California, and I'm from Washington, D.C. And I believe y'all just saying that because we share the same last name. I don't know. Because to me, we don't sound alike. I don't see that. But he was on Sway on his radio show and he was being interviewed. And at this particular segment that I'm getting ready to play, he said something very interesting that I want you to see. I want you to see. Getting ready to play it now. So I'm going to jump right into it. Yeah, people were saying I sound like Sway. I'm like, nah, I don't sound like Sway. I mean, he got that Oakland, he got that Cali accent. I don't have a, I mean, I could be considered high pitch, I guess, and so can he a little bit. I don't know, but I don't know. I just don't see that. I don't really see that. I have a unique sound. I really do sound like me. I don't really sound like anybody else. To me, that's just my personal take on it. But yeah, I mean, just because we do share the same last name, because y'all didn't say that about AJ Calloway. The one that used to be with Free. Shout out to Free. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you for the support. Wait, Christy Love, is that Christy? What's going on, sis? I can't tell. The avatar too small on my side. All right, here we go. So this is recent.
Growing up on the west side of Chicago, like I was born in 61. So here's my first 10 years of life. 63, Kennedy is assassinated. 65, Malcolm X is assassinated. 66, 67, Kennedy assassinated. King assassinated. And you from Oakland. Black Panther Party was in my community. I was one of the kids that got the free breakfast. My mom worked with Fred Hampton. 69, Fred Hampton's murdered. 3 riots.
Now, by the way, he's from Chicago, if you all don't know that. He's from Chicago. So keep in mind, he's referring to the 60s. Yeah, this is Isaiah Thomas. This is who I'm talking about. Now, Isaiah Lord Thomas, as you know, there's another Isaiah that spells it with 2 A's. He spells it with 1 A and then the H. But yeah, Fred Hampton. Matter of fact, let me give Fred Hampton a round of applause. He was one of my favorites. Yeah, and they assassinated that brother inside of his house. He was doing his thing. So yeah, he's from Chicago. So mind you, just keep this in mind that he's going through all of this in the 60s, right? Here we go. Wait, why is that playing?
It's in my neighborhood. They had a shoot to kill order in my neighborhood, Chicago West Side. Black Panthers, Vice Lords, J. Edgar Hoover. First time a weapon was pulled on me, the National Guard pulled up off the Eisenhower Expressway. I was living on Congress and Holman, 3340 West Congress, and pulled up the tank. Back then we called it the Army tank. The Army tank pulled up, pointed the barrel right at our house, and you couldn't be outside, we had a curfew at 6 o'clock. So everybody had to be off the streets by 6 o'clock. So when you talk about when's the first time I got playing basketball, my first 10 years of life, I wasn't even thinking about basketball like that, you know, in terms of, you know, playing in the NBA and all that. The NBA wasn't even on television at that time. And I know that's hard to imagine, right?
Right.
But, you know, how about this, that famous game they talk about that Magic Johnson played in, where he was the MVP, 42 points and all that. That game was tape delayed.
That was tape delayed?
That game was tape delayed.
That sounds bonkers in 2023.
Right? And so, you know, I didn't grow up with this NBA basketball dream. I grew up, you know, wanting to be, you know, an activist, fighting in civil rights. My mom.
So you keep that in mind. Notice how that particular era, that's all the children wanted to do. Don't this sound familiar already, y'all? They wanted to grow up and be in the civil rights movement because that's what they saw. The NBA wasn't on television, like he said, but what was on television? Okay, there was a motive behind it.
We went to all the, you know, the civil rights, you know, marches, and
he went to the marches.
Activism is part of, you know,
that's a part of who you are.
Yeah, that's the family business, and you know, during that time, again, on the west side of Chicago, you had, you know, Noble Drew Ali, you had, you know, Nation of Islam, you had the Blackstone Rangers, El Rukins, Black Panther Party. So that's kind of like, you know, my DNA in terms of how I grew up and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for, you know, nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro.
Yeah. Wow.
Remember those times?
Okay. So when they were coming up, not to be called colored or Negro. He was born in 61. As he was coming up, they were fighting to not be called colored or Negro. Y'all know what was implemented then, right? When the younger generation started popping up, they implemented the term black for a particular reason. Who gave them that term? Just like who gave us the term Indian, gave us the term Negro, gave us the term African American, colored. So if our folks weren't going for being called Negro or colored, we were saying, hey, that's derogatory then. And don't forget that I showed you all, and I'll be able to show you again, that the term nigger and black were one and the same back then as well. They were both derogatory, used the exact same way. Keep this in mind. So now we talking 60s, 70s here. I'm gonna go into it because I'm not gonna play the whole video of where I'm referring to, but I'm gonna play clips of it because I'm sure you've seen it, but I just want to refresh your memory. It's a reason why all of this was happening during the 60s and the 70s. Because the younger generation was coming up, high school, fresh into college, and they were trying to make some changes, but they were so vulnerable that the politicians knew that they could implement anything at that time to get things done. The number one thing they wanted to do was take the land away from our people by making them become registered voters. Don't forget that. Don't ever forget that. Yeah, Hindustan wasn't named India until not was it 1948 or 1950? But that's right. It could have been 1948. I could have sworn it was 1950 though. So you have the younger generation coming up trying to make a change and trying to make a name for themselves. And listen to what he says happens next.
was times, yeah. Don't call me colored or Negro.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had Negro on my birth certificate.
Uh-huh.
And
I got Negro on my birth certificate.
well, back then I had, they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah.
Now, that's very important because remember, during that particular era, during the 1960s era, remember I told you that we weren't ever citizens of this country until we were led to believe, or the children of his era were led to believe that they had to become citizens of this country in order to garner so-called birth rights, so-called human rights, disguised as civil rights. You putting it together? Wait, I mean, if they getting rights, we should too. We here too. We been here too. But this is, keep in mind, this is what they're telling the vulnerable children. And yes, I'm saying children, even though they were in their college days, they're still children. I'm gonna be real here. They don't own anything. They're still asking mom and pop for things. In fact, mom and pop is paying for their college tuition. They're still children. They didn't own businesses. They didn't own land. You understand what I'm saying? Children mindset. Get that into your mind. So these were young, trying to become young professionals. So they were super vulnerable. And the politicians and the government knew that this was the perfect time to implement their plan of separation, total separation. Now, even though before the 1960s, we were already segregated, keep in mind, they wanted to desegregate certain areas. They wanted to act like they wanted to bring everybody together. But there was a separation there. Being treated equal. That was the separation. On every part of the scale. So, meaning, what I mean by that is not only in schools or colleges or universities, but how you're taxed, how much you're paid, how much you have to pay for whatever it is, your line of credit, your possibility of getting a loan for a house, loan for a vehicle, business loan, student loan. Things became even more difficult. Now, I'm pretty sure the parents during that time period were informing the children, look, we already good right now. We don't need to be linking up with this government to become registered voters. And you know how these politicians do. They especially, still to this very day, they glorify everything during their campaigns, try to make it seem like they're going to do this and going to do that so they could garner the person's vote. And then turn right around and do the total opposite when they get in that position. It never fails. Okay? So let's go over this one more time. 1960s, 1970s. He saw what was going on with the civil rights movement. Of course, he wanted to be a part of that because that was the only thing that was being displayed by way of television and newspaper. Not even the NBA was on television, just like he said. He grew up wanting to become an activist. I believe he said his mom was involved in the Black Panthers. This is what he wanted to do. That was their business. That's all they saw fit. But wait a minute, what are they fighting for? He did say nationality. and birth rights. That's what he said. Nationality and birth rights. Keep in mind, both things have nothing to do with civil rights. He wanted to change the way, or they wanted to change the way that we were classified back then, Negro and colored. Said that that's bringing us lower than even a first-class citizen at that time. So if the script was flipped, in which it was, and some of those infiltrators got into our vulnerable children's ears, keep in mind I'm talking about the college students, and said, look, why don't you join this particular party right here, and maybe you can push for first-class citizenship. But before you do that, you got to become an elected voter. You have to become an elector. You have to become a registered voter. Oh, and keep in mind, you may lose everything that you have, and I'm referring to your parents. They're going to lose everything they got. I'm going to show you that again. I'm going to refresh your memory about that. That's just not me saying that, by the way. That's what actually happened. Just by becoming voters. And did we ever become first-class citizens? Did we ever become first-class citizens? So you know it wasn't on equal ground from the start. They made our people believe as if we were all going to be treated equal. And here we are, still having these same problems today. And we wonder why, or we wonder what we got to do, Dane. Dane, what's the next step, Dane? I get it all the time, and I always share it to him. What's the next thing? What we got to do, Dane? It's real easy, for real. We point out the problems and correct them. That's it. It's just that simple. Dane, what do you mean by that? I mean, do we need their citizenship? Because if we weren't citizens until the 1960s, then what does that make us? What's another word, chat? What's another word, y'all? What's the opposite of a citizen? Let me see. Come on, chat. Let me see. Put it in there. What's the opposite of a citizen? Okay, indigenous, landlord. Not necessarily slave, because that's still attached to citizen. That a resident is still attached to a citizen. Sovereign. There we go. Sovereign. Sovereign. So if you're fighting, once again, for nationality, you're fighting for your sovereignty, sovereign recognition. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So let's continue. He says,
can you break down the knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in the United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights, and we were in this country, we were said to be not human. So when they took us out of our nationality, they took you out of your humanness and your birthright, right?
Whoa. Let's walk it down. Let's walk it down. So if they took us out of our nationality and birthright by labeling us these misclassifications like Negro, colored, and Indian, by the way, then what is our nationality? And again, this part right here has nothing to do with the term sovereign at this point. I'm looking for a different answer from y'all this time. What was our nationality? Now, by way of paperwork, by the government, they used a lot of terms that correlated with American Indian. So don't get me wrong on that. But what was the nationality? Okay, I like that. Our tribal identities. Yep, indigenous. Dane, what do I mean by, yes, oh, that has to do with your tribe. That has to do with your tribe. Your individual tribe. That's your nationality. Not a blank statement. Okay? Not your last names. Your nationality is your family. And the reason why I'm using the term family is because I want you to put that into your mindset and think about that for a second. If they're taking the family away from you, then you won't ever know who you are. That way they can manipulate you into being whatever they want you to be. Now, the reason why I said use the term American Indian is because that was put on paperwork referring to us as far as the indigenous people of this landmass. That is directly talking about us. Directly. But we weren't supposed to be touched. We weren't supposed to be taxed. We were not supposed to be tied with this government, but a lot of infiltration happened. A lot of wrongdoing. A lot of broken promises. A lot of deception. That's a good one. We're gonna walk it. We're gonna walk through this. A lot of broken treaties. That's right. A lot of wannabes. Oh, man. Oh, man. They wanted our spot, too. Because at one point, the government said, okay, cool, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. And the foreigners that were coming over here like, no, but what about us? This is for them because we did harm to them. But what about us? What about us? Well, why don't you just say that you are them? Why don't you take their spot? It's gonna cost you $5.
And you know, the first march that happened in Memphis with the garbage workers, right, in Memphis, right? The sign that they had that they said, "I am a man," right? You didn't want to be dehumanized, and you didn't want to be taken out of your humanness, and you didn't want to be taken out of the human race. There really was only one race, and it was called the human race. The human race, yeah. Right? And then they put us into all these different racial categories.
Okay, so that exposed another thing that I talked about. Remember, before there was race, it was classism. We talked about this before. So he's telling you that time period and when they started implementing racism or classifying people by race. He's right. At one point, it wasn't multiple races. It was only one human race. The government decided to create different classes. Another misclassification. If we were only one human race, in which we are, then what makes you any different from me? That's when you're going to see things like eugenics come into play, a lot of indoctrination inside of the schools, a lot of political precedents, like, you know, things that he's referring to with the civil rights movement, to distract you, all distractions. But keep in mind, the children were vulnerable. They couldn't trick the adults. Yep, they finessed us.
And in these racial categories, you lose your humanness in terms of being recognized as a man. So
now you lost your humanness by being labeled as a particular race, meaning you're no longer a man or woman anymore to this government. That tells you a lot about the term citizen, resident, a person in transient status, somebody there temporarily, or somebody there or not there at all. They can move you like pawns on a chessboard anywhere. Yes, going back to the 3/5 of a human being dealing with the vote. But that did come a little. We'll see. I'm not trying to confuse people with that timeline. I want you to. I'm referring to the beginning of how everything came about, as far as them laying it all out in the 60s. Look how long it took them to get this done. Because prior to that, we were fine. Don't forget all of the Negro Wall Streets where we were prospering and going ham. Yes, that's spelled incorrectly, but you're right. Disenfranchised. We went over this. This is a disenfranchisement. Yes. That's what happened. When you're dehumanizing something, you're making someone an alien to you. This is why the term black was implemented also. Because if you can't see, use me, ancestors. When you can't see, everything is pitch black, you're not there. Invincible. And I mean that in a literal sense. So this is another way for them to not have to go through a war to get rid of you by using guns, a sword. The power was in the pen. Somebody just said it, genocide, but it was called a paper genocide. Who had control of the pen? We're gonna go there. This is it right here. We're gonna go there. We're not gonna. This is not something that we could just brush off. When we fighting for change, we gotta point out where the problem resides and correct it. Where did all of the mishap arise of us not being treated equally as those foreigners that are or that were incoming here during that time period and still to this very day? This is what's upon us, brothers and sisters, free thinkers, ladies and gentlemen, Niji. This is what we have to correct. They disenfranchised us. So what's the best thing for us to do? Go into franchisement. Remember, I told you how we could do it. We have to own everything. Now, I'm going to simplify this because I know you heard me over and over. I'm going to simplify it. Top to bottom, systematically, from our own governments to our own car dealerships, we have to own our franchises. We have to own our industry. Industries. Otherwise, we're going to be in the streets. And that's what they banking on.
Negro came in to signify that you were second-class citizen in the United States, not first class.
Okay. Negro came in. Listen, look, he just said it. To signify that you are second-class citizen. Now, right now, listen, y'all, look at how deep this get. We are not called Negro anymore, are we? We are now called Black. So where do we fall in the first, second, and third class citizenship? Right now. You don't have Negro on your birth certificate, do you? Keep in mind, he did. I don't. Look, let me tell you how deep it get. A lot of y'all probably watching right now. Hold on, let me say it this way. Maybe half of y'all right now, if you take a look at your birth certificate, your racial classification is blank. Look at how deep this is about to get. Blank. Nowhere near to be found. Non-existent. Yeah, it will be bottom tier. Absolutely. Because if Negro was tied to second class, then what's Black? Uh-oh. Now you see the problems we got to correct? And y'all think that Black was just the terminology that we should be using amongst each other to refer to ourselves as? When Black is not a nationality and has no standing in law? It has no standing in a law that we create? If it's non-existent, it's not there. And you wonder why you don't get reparations, there's your answer. Because reparations are not owed to Black people. Woo, null and void. I hope you hear me this time. This is a big deal. This deal is so big, it's bigger than any other problems that we face. Because if we correct this problem, everything else will be corrected domino style, domino effect. They say you got to work from the bottom to get to the top. But in order to correct the problem, shouldn't you start with the top and work your way down? Because why would we go from the bottom into the top? We're not building something up. We need to take something down. From top to bottom. I wish I was on camera so y'all could see me. I got to get my camera set up. I know I got my father's face on right now. Yeah, dismantle it. And here they go right now trying to feed you with Fed Now. Here they go. It's online. And now people scrambling, don't know what they should do. And a whole bunch of other distractions that are in play right now. When I tell you all this time, this entire time I've been on YouTube, this government is not for you and never has been. They're not doing anything in your favor. And you know those people that are out there that are millionaires? Keep in mind that Isaiah Thomas is a millionaire, but he's telling you about the problems that existed back then. And you think those same problems don't exist right now? You got another thing coming. Well, this is the American dream. The American dream is to become a millionaire and live your life and worry-free. Yeah, you can still live your life worry-free. But if something is wrong, do you want your next generations to come to be raised up in that? Is everybody in your family going to be a millionaire, or is it just you? Are you putting everybody on, or is it just you? One person out the family a millionaire. Is the entire family millionaires? It's the American dream, right? That's what they want you to believe. Because a lot of those 13 families are rich before they were even born, right? Wealthy. Let me say the real word, wealthy. Generation after generation after generation, they good to go, right? Generational wealth. That's what we need. We're missing that. We need that. I don't care what car you flashing, Gucci this, Prada that, whatever you wearing. That don't matter when you can't pass that down. When you dead and gone and you can't pass down what you got, you ain't got nothing. No matter how rich you think you are. See? Y'all know what?
It's go time, Slim.
That's a lot of our people. That's a lot of our people. They don't know. They don't know what to do. Tina Turner's estate is good, right? How come Michael Jackson's estate being touched? Left and right. How come Michael Jackson's trust is public? Are people aware how to work in private? How to have private trusts? Private corporations? I'm talking about something that the government can't touch. You don't have to pay probate taxes. How come our people don't know about that? They don't want you to know about that. Every time I talk about private family trust, people thinking that they got to go to a bank to get it started. And then look, if that bank crumble, what you think gonna happen to your trust? You gonna trust the bank or trust yourself as your own bank? This gets deep. Whitney Houston's estate. See, and it's so many things that I can mention here when it comes to our people after they pass. Some random person out there right now saying that Michael Jackson did, to that individual. But no, Michael Jackson is dead, but the estate can still be sued. But his estate can still be sued. Sued? Why you wait so long to say he gone? That's not right. Whitney Houston sung her heart out. Her father was trying to hold things down and do it the right way. But she said, nah, let me cut you short, Pops. Let me go. And she was never taught about having private trust. What's the lady's name? I visited her estate in North Carolina. Hold on, hold on. I don't know why Nat King Cole keep popping up in my mind, but it's the daughter. What was the daughter? Hold on, her name was hold up. I'm gonna let that come to me. But she got control over her estate is who I'm referring to. She got control over her trust. I believe it was Natalie Cole. Who was that lady? Is it Natalie? Yeah, Natalie. Okay. Natalie Cole. Beautiful. But not too many of our people are aware of things that they need when it comes to their families and passing along generational wealth. I'm telling you right now, you can't find that. A person like that look like you and I, we can't find Nijis online talking about generational wealth. You know what they gonna do? Look, this is 5 steps to fix your credit. 5 steps to get a loan. 5 steps to get a house. What about generational wealth? What about that? Brother Levante in the building. Yeah, I said Natalie Cole. Well, look, I think we got a hater in here. Sniper! Snipe that Lola person up out of here. So let's continue real quick.
Recognized as a man. So Negro came in to signify that you were second-class citizen in the United States, not first class. And what first class means is that classified as white, you don't have to fight for voting rights, civil rights, or equal rights. Mm-hmm. We classified as black in America, you're fighting for civil rights, equal rights, voting rights. So there's there's a second tier that we've always been fighting for to try to be recognized as equal and as human in this space. So that was the west side of Chicago.
That's how Isaiah Thomas grew up. I loved it.
I mean, I feel as though that's very important, though. Even though they wanted to move on with the interview and stuff like that. That's no shot to Sway. Sway, I know they got to do what they got to do, but that's some very good information that people should be aware of. I'm going to show you another thing that I have. Wait, no, let me leave this up because all it's going to do is change. 1 second to what? It was this one. I want to. Yeah, right here.
Mr. Carmichael, do you see any change in atmosphere in the South? Do you think that we are approaching a more militant or revolutionary stage in the civil rights movement in the South?
Yes, I certainly think so. I think we're moving now into a political arena. And I think that what Negroes are now tampering in, what they're tampering with, will touch the entire country. To be very precise, for example, many Negroes who registered to vote have been evicted from their lands.
Many Negroes who registered to vote have been evicted from their lands. This is what they he do look like Dolph. He do look like Dolph. Rest well, Dolph. But now this is Stokely Carmichael. Stokely Carmichael was used as a plant to infiltrate the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, but especially Martin Luther King's Freedom Now, into transitioning into Black Power. So they wanted to shut them down for trying to become even second-class citizens and making them a lower tier. So another thing I wanted to show you, and I believe it was, hold on, let me make sure it wasn't in here. I believe that was on the second part. Okay, wait, let me use this franchise. Yeah, let me play this part right here real quick before I go, because I think this is key as well.
Now, we can recall learning in school about how our ancestors were not allowed the right to vote until the passing of the 15th Amendment, which was ratified February 3rd, 1870. And according to the National Archives and Records Administration, on pages 61 and 62 of the milestone documents of 1995, the so-called Negroes, quote, exercised the franchise and held office in many southern states through the 1880s. But in the early 1890s, steps were taken to ensure subsequent white supremacy. Literacy tests for the vote, grandfather clauses, excluding from the franchise all whose ancestors had not voted in the 1860s, and other devices to disenfranchise African Americans were written into the constitutions of former Confederate states.
Now keep in mind, that's 1995, so you're going to see that term African American, because that term African American was used after the 1980s, especially 1984. But that's just letting you know, like even prior to that, you're being disenfranchised by just registering to vote. Negroes exercised the franchise and held office in many southern states. Now, don't forget that. Not only southern states, but northern states, But that's according to the milestone documents. I'm just letting you know that. That was 1880s. And then 1890s came white supremacy. They wanted to be at the top. They put themselves at the top. So they made sure that they structured that 1871 Constitution to fit their bill, to fit themselves.
But in the early 1890s, steps were taken to ensure subsequent white supremacy. literacy tests for the vote, grandfather clauses, excluding from the franchise all whose ancestors had not voted in the 1860s, and other devices to disenfranchise African Americans were written into the constitutions of former Confederate states. End quote. I would like for you to note this portion of the quote where it says, exercised the franchise and held office in many southern states. Because this is how you know that our ancestors were prospering as capitalists in this society during this time period.
Right.
Being as though they were able to run businesses, create franchises, hold elections, and office as a franchisor. Each business can elect one who is chosen, or they may select one who is handpicked to take an office or employment, meaning that the business can either elect or select its president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer, just to name a few things as an example.
That's still ongoing.
But somehow this phrase was merged into moving from business to more of a political sense.
Right.
To the point where the definition of franchise is now being associated with both the right to vote in public elections and an authorization granted by a government or company to an individual or group, enabling them to carry out specified commercial activities. With the franchisor being the person or company that grants a franchise, and the franchisee being the person or company doing business under the name or mark of another franchise. It is an elaborate agreement under which the franchisee does business in accordance with methods and procedures prescribed by the franchisor. A collective bargaining agreement should ring a bell here.
Right. That
which
was
is
the
nothing
contract.
more than a legal binding contract.
That was the contract.
I share more about that here.
No. We don't got to go into that.
Might not.
We don't got to go into that. I just wanted to make sure that was in there. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not missing nothing. Oh, this is another part about franchising. Hold up. Parties. All right, hold on. Let me double check and make sure. Okay, yeah. Let me play this part right here real quick before I let go of this video. Because I want to switch it to the other video. Negroes, this community could become another ghetto. You owe it to your family. You owe it to your family to buy in another community. All right. Let me let it play.
According to the International Franchise Association, under the title Foundations of Franchising, it states, quote, every franchise relationship is founded on the mutual commitment of both parties to fulfill their obligations under the franchise agreement. Each party will fulfill its obligations, will act consistently with the interests of the brand,
right,
and will not act as to harm the brand and system. This willing interdependence between franchisors and franchisees and the trust and honesty upon which it is founded has made franchising a worldwide success as a strategy for business growth. End quote. All of this should make you wonder.
Okay.
Could it be possible that once a person signs up to vote, then that individual has now consented to entering into a legal binding contract?
That's what happened. That's what happened. Thank you, Dane. Hold on, talk to him, Dane. Hey! Talk to him, Dane! Talk to him! Because, explain why. Because that's exactly what happened. They put you in a totally different contract, and you lost everything else because you couldn't do business as your own franchisor. Okay? You couldn't do business as your own franchisor. This is what we need to correct, y'all. And this is what I wanted to point out. Once you became, a voter, elector, that was it. All right, so let me grab the other one because I wanted to show you all. Hold on, let me grab this one. And go, hold up. No, not right I mean, I could play Lafayette real quick. I'll play
Understand the transition with SNCC. When Stokely became the chairman of SNCC, he had a different approach. He'd not been trained in nonviolence, and he believed in self-defense. And he was somewhat influenced by, Malcolm X, who talked about that, and also Adam Clayton Powell. Adam Clayton Powell talked about Black Power even before Stokely and others.
And it was amazing to me.
I think I skipped the part that I wanted to show y'all. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm gonna come back to that because okay. All right, so okay, this is the vote part. Hold on. Yeah, Fannie Lou Hamer, she was amazing. I love her. But she got tricked also. Okay, this is the part that I wanted to. Okay, I just wanted y'all to hear.
Troy State College. I applied to go there, submitted my application, my high school transcript. So I wrote this letter. Dr. King wrote me back and sent me a round-trip Greyhound bus ticket and invited me to come to Montgomery to meet with him. So in September 1957, I boarded a bus. I traveled from Troy, Alabama, rural Alabama, past Montgomery to Nashville to go to school. An uncle of mine gave me a $100 bill, more money than I ever had, gave me a Foot Locker, put everything that I own, my few books, my few clothing in that Foot Locker, and took a Greyhound bus to Nashville. And while I was there studying, Rosa Parks came to speak at Fisk University, and I heard her. I met her. And Dr. King later heard through one of my teachers that I was in Nashville studying. So Martin Luther King Jr. got back in touch with me and told me when I was home for spring break to come and see him. So in March of 1958, by this time I'm 18 years old, I boarded a bus. I traveled from Troy to Montgomery. And a young lawyer by the name of Fred Gray, who was a lawyer for Rosa Parks, for Dr. King, and the people involved in the Montgomery bus boycott, met me at the Greyhound bus station and drove me to the First Baptist Church in downtown Montgomery, pastored by the Reverend Ralph Abernathy, and ushered me into the pastor's study. I saw Martin Luther King Jr. and Ralph Abernathy standing behind a desk. I was so scared, I didn't know what to say or what to do. And Dr. King said, "Are you the boy from Troy? Are you John Lewis?" And I said, "Dr. King, I am John Robert Lewis," but he still called me the boy from Troy. And he said, "If you want to go to Troy State College, we will support you. We may have to sue the state of Alabama. We may have to sue Troy State, but we're prepared to help you. Go back home and have a discussion with your mother, your father. Your home could be bombed," that's what he said. "Your home could be burned. Your family could lose their land. You could be beaten.
Their family could lose their land.
You could be harmed." And I went back, had a discussion with my mother and my father. They were so afraid that something could happen to me, it could happen to them, or we could lose the land, lose the farm.
Lose the land,
so they didn't
lose
want
the
to
farm.
have anything to do with my attempting to enroll at the school.
That's the part of the desegregation that I'm referring to. So not only becoming, voters where you were losing your land, but also becoming a part of that movement. The civil rights movement, and a part of carrying desegregation precedents. Yeah, it did sound like he was reading that. It did sound like that because I have another video where he stated almost verbatim what he was mentioning right here. But that's John Lewis, for those of you that don't know. But that's what I wanted to show you because I have, yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to show y'all because I wanted to at least let y'all know how the time period was back then. At that time, it wasn't necessarily racism going on. It was more about, once again, look at that sign. It's X'd out colored, X'd out whites, and it's just Americans.
Otherwise.
And they're walking
many
together.
people-
It was a lot of that going on. And then I showed you inside of this video how they were at establishments together as well. They were all in one establishment. I believe, yeah, right here. Hold on, wait. I'm trying to, okay.
Not share the same life experiences as some others may have in most southern and
look, they're all together.
Northern states of America, and like millions of others.
That's what I'm referring to.
Stokely was one of those children.
Now, once again, don't get me wrong. Things could have happened in southern states. I'm not saying that it didn't happen or that it wasn't there. But it just wasn't on a broader scale like how they tried to portray it as, okay? Nowadays, like we heard that it was all of the South and all of the North. It wasn't like that. It was just in certain places. But a lot of other places, yes, they were together. Once again, you seeing Niji and whites in the same location. They weren't turning their nose up. You know, they weren't like, oh, you need to be over here. We need to be over there. That wasn't happening. Everybody was like, look, don't come up with this separation of the human race because you're dehumanizing and defranchising one set group of people while you're uplifting another. That was the further expansion on white supremacy during this time period by way of the pen. This is what I want you all to understand that we have to correct. We have to correct this because that's how we lost everything that we had. Keep in mind, they basically, you know, and with him being that young, 18 years old, look at that. They're vulnerable. And I'm talking about John Lewis, vulnerable. And his parents were warning him not to do it because they're going to lose the land, the house, the farm. And that's exactly what happened. Because who in the chat right now could state right now that they still have farmland in their family? It could be probably 1 or 2, maybe 3. But you can say that your ancestors did own land, I'm sure. And how was it taken from them? How come they don't have it in their possession anymore? How come that's not passed down generationally? How come we're not set up for generational wealth? This is what I'm referring to, that we have to get back to. This is what we should be paying attention to. What we did wrong back then, we can correct this right now. And we don't have to be first class. We don't have to be second class. We don't have to be any form or class or race, for that matter, in order for us to stay here. We don't. We don't. They want you to believe that we do, but no, we don't. We don't have to play by their rules. We don't. They have to play by ours. You know why? Because they're foreigners on our territory. This isn't foreign territory to us. This was all Indian territory. This was all Indian lands. They know for sure of that. This is the reason why they're constantly distracting you away from those facts. A lot of stuff I had put out there to inform you all about this. This is a major problem right here. And shout out again to the brother Isaiah Thomas for breaking it down. I love when we have elders like that that'll come out there and speak the truth, you know, without biting their tongue. And he has done that on air and off air. So we know he's legit. Those of you that may have elders that'll do the same thing, I would love to speak with them. I would love to put them on the screen. If that's you, please join the 13% community server. the moderators will be able to drop the link. Shoot, I'll drop the link if need be. It is free. I want to speak with your elders, and if they don't mind, if I got to travel there and get them on camera, let's do it. More and more people need to be aware. It wasn't just about the civil rights movement, or they were doing the marches. Okay, that's fine. But what happened? What came from, what did we get out of that? What did we get out of that? All of that marching, all of that protesting, then what? Okay, we became electors, lost everything just to give up what we had, which was our sovereignty, technically. Okay, all we had to do was disobey with agreeing, or disobey the government, disobeying that their labeling, their classification, and do everything on our own in order for us to carry on with our nationalities. We weren't together in that mind state that we should have been when it came to us as children back then. And they knew that. They caught us when we were children, when we were the most vulnerable, to make this happen. This is the only way they could have got it done. They knew the adults wouldn't do it. And that's why it took so long. Once again, 1871 is when they implemented the new Constitution. That's why it took so long. They had to wait till those generations died. The ones that they know won't consent. Shoot, I mean, look at this now. A lot of people lost their elders due to, what they put in, try to make everybody stay home. You understand what I'm saying? Put two and two together, because they still messing with people's channels with us talking about that. Well, with that vaccine stuff, y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay? Got rid of the elders so everybody else could consent when, God forbid the next go round happen, or if they decide to put it in the food in which they are, that's their little thing. They trying to, so they can control the population. In more ways than one. Not just by numbers, but also by way of manipulation. Controlling that mindset. Telling you a vision that they want you to have. This is about control. If you don't have control over yourself, then what's the point? I believe everybody that's watching right now, that's listening in, I strongly believe that we're going to get this thing together. I believe that we are going to become one with ourselves. I believe that we are going to take the next steps to initiate our own franchises, which is our businesses, corporations, everything that we need. So we can, as far as, our own governments as well, unions, top to bottom, so we can excel generationally and have generational wealth within our families, generation after generation. I strongly believe that that's going to happen. I know it's inevitable. A lot of our people are waking up nowadays, and I appreciate that. I just want you all to just go higher. Go higher. Elevate yourselves higher. Bring your energy up. Stop being down. Bring your energy up. Don't knock yourself. You can do this. Don't say that you can't. Can't shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. Yes, you can. You can do this. We can do this. We don't need a leader. We don't need a politician. We don't need a mayor. We don't need a governor. We don't need a president in order for us to get this done. And I'm talking about those that we see out there right now. We could create our own mayors and governors and politicians and presidents within our own franchises. Okay? They created quasi-corporations, acting as if they are a government. If they could do it, we could do it. See? But we could do it differently, because it don't got to be monkey see, monkey do, because they copied us from the start and capitalized on it. Especially when they were trying to do tug of war with both sides of our ears or both sides of our faces, saying one thing in one ear, saying another thing in the other. No, we need to be desegregated. But what if we go back to segregation now? I wonder. At least we could segregate from a lot of the stuff that we see happening. They could have their little currency. They could do what they want to do. We just have our own. Let's just try that, please. There's nothing wrong with trying. That's one thing that we should implement and see if it works. Because I gotta Good feeling. Great feeling. A high feeling that it will work. And in due time. I love you all. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I'll be live again tomorrow about another particular topic. And we're gonna probably have some fun tomorrow because I know a lot of people may be watching and still cracking fireworks and stuff like that. Keep in mind, I'm not trying to take that from you, but I'm just gonna educate you about so-called independence. I gotta do it again. Got to. It's time. So see you tomorrow. Probably be a little bit earlier than this. Okay? So I'll see you. You all take care. I enjoyed myself and I hope you enjoyed this stream. Leave a like if you did. If you learned something, leave a like, comment, share. I appreciate that. All the donos, all the memberships, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. That means a great deal to me. I love you. Wado.
I'm just here to make you think.